Skip it up and that up. So more rumors about the Nintendo NX have come out. Some are interesting, some are disappointing. I have a feeling that most of them are true, minus one, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But needless to say, they are interesting rumors, and I felt they were worthy to discuss, so let's get into it. So there is a NeoGAF poster named Miu, I think that's how you say it. He translated some things that a Foxconn sketch artist said about the Nintendo NX, its specs and other features, and it talks about like the hardware, it compares to other consoles. We'll talk more about that in a second. And the rumors coincide with what we've been hearing from other sources, that it's going to be a quote-unquote mobile hybrid. So you could play it on the go, and then you could plop it on a docking station in front of your TV, and then it becomes a home console. Now, this is the translation from this Foxconn sketch artist. So again, it's a rumor, and it's a translation. Rumor and translation combined. So there may be misinformation in here, and because it's a rumor and it's a translation, some of this stuff, maybe even all of it, could not come true. I'm sure that the whole console hybrid thing is pretty accurate, but again, I have to make that statement because if this all ends up being misinformation, I don't want it to come back and bite me in the ass, even though it probably will anyway, because it's the internet, and that's what people love to do. Exposed. Okay, so here is the translation from the Foxconn sketch artist. I'll apologize in advance if I trip over some words. It's in somewhat broken English, but I've read it a few times and actually have done like a few takes of this, and I ended up tripping over my words. So I'm going to apologize in advance. There's just some things here that it's just, like I said, broken English. So here we go. NX is a console handheld hybrid. We knew that already. It is detachable. We knew that already. It contains the console itself, performance module, and the handheld gamepad. We knew all that stuff already, but let's continue. The console, I think it is supposed to be a dock, I'll call it a dock from now on, contains the hard drive, cartridge slot, and various other interfaces. It supports TV output, but does not have a processor in it, the CPU-GPU hybrid, or APU you could call it too, or GPU. There's a billion different names. The performance module is a portable device that provides power supply. It contains a lithium-ion battery. CPU-GPU is also contained inside. It supports Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and wired connections. You plug the dock inside and it becomes a PS4 Xbox One-like console, but you can also transfer the signals to the handheld, like remote play they have in question marks. I'm wondering what they'll do with that. There are two candidate systems on a chip for it. There's the Pascal system on a chip from NVIDIA, or an AMD R9 system on a chip. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Continuing on, the handheld part is a 6-inch 720p screen and has a low TDP system on a chip, which can satisfy basic operations with lower quality graphics when the performance module is not connected. But it can also display game graphics from the performance module, which can provide a console-level graphics. A bit like NVIDIA Shield streaming. You could bring the performance module with you portable since it has its own battery. Wow, that's interesting, man. Holy crap. Additional info. Whatever the solution will be, here we go. The computing power it has falls far behind a PS4, let alone a PS4 Pro. Don't have high hopes for that. The selling point for it is its high portability and hybrid, providing rich gameplay possibilities. If details don't get revealed in October, then maybe wait for the beginning of next year, which if they don't reveal details till the beginning of next year and they're planning on launching the NX in March of next year, that will be disastrous. So anyway, I'm not going to discuss every single bit to this translation. We knew it was a console handheld hybrid. We knew there was detachable parts, blah, 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 blah. But the first thing I want to talk about is the handheld unit itself, the portable side of the NX and its screen. And I want to talk about this performance module that this guy kept on bringing up. So all right, they're saying it's going to be a 6-inch 720p screen. That means the screen's going to be 1280 by 720, and I'm looking at a PPI calculator right now. That means it's going to have a little over 244 pixels per inch, which I have to say that's not that bad. 1080p would have been nicer, but I could tell you after using a lot of these budget phones that I'm going to be reviewing and have reviewed, pixels per inch don't mean that much after a certain point. Yes, you're going to see 8 pixels on the screen of the NX because 720p isn't a high resolution, but it's still pretty good and it's not as bad. I used to think, oh man, 720p screen that's 5 inches, that's going to look terrible. I could tell you firsthand from using a lot of these budget smartphones, it's really not. So that's fine. I have no issue with the screen only being 720p. It'll save on battery life and you won't really notice it on such a small size. It's not that big a deal. Now, this performance module, you would think, now this is a rumor and I think this is pretty shaky rumor. You would think it would just be something that was put in the dock and would sit at home. But according to this guy from Foxconn, this performance module has its own battery in it, and you could bring it with you if you want to improve the graphics on the go. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, though. I can't picture Nintendo thinking that the consumer would want to do that, especially on a small 720p screen where you're not really going to notice the visual bump. But hey, maybe they're really, really trying something different here, and you could upgrade your graphics when you take your NX with you on the go. I'm going to not really take that as Bible. I'm going to actually throw an assumption out there or place a bet right now and say, I don't think that's true. I bet that rumor is false, but who knows? Nintendo's trying some very strange shit. This is maybe the strangest shit they ever tried with what they're doing at the NX. And yes, I'm including the Wii and the No, the Virtual Boy was a very strange thing to try, and it was disastrous. But they're trying strange shit right now. So who knows? Maybe they are doing this thing with the performance module. Maybe they want to appease the hardcore gamers on the go, too. So, hey, we'll see what happens. And I want to bring this up, too, because I'm sure that there will be people reminding me of this and throwing this in my face. Well, Rich, you said in the past that people who even have 1080p TVs would appreciate having a Scorpio because they would still see the difference in visual fidelity. Why are you saying this performance module for the NX on the go wouldn't really be a benefit? You're talking about a 6-inch screen. Okay, it's a much smaller screen. Yes, on a 1080p 50-inch TV, you will see the better lighting and the better textures and the better, fog effects and everything with the Scorpio. On a small 6-inch screen that's 720p, you're not going to see that much of a difference with a performance module. It's just, or even if there is a small difference, it's not enough I can't see Nintendo saying, hey, bring this performance module with you. Maybe something was lost in translation. It's just very a non-Nintendo-like thing to do. But who knows, like I said, because they're really, really, really trying something different with the NX. So maybe there is a performance module. Just kind of wondering why they would do that. At home, I could see, but bringing it on the go? Now, let's talk about them still debating what system on a chip they're going to use between NVIDIA's Pascal and AMD's R9 system on a chip. There's no way they're still at the point where they're debating what chipset they're going to use. I mean, again, I'm not a hardware engineer, and maybe there's something that I don't know that they could possibly still be doing that this late in the game. But one, I feel it is NVIDIA that won the whole contract with the NX because that's all everyone has been talking about. Every rumor I've heard has been NVIDIA Tegra, NVIDIA Tegra, NVIDIA Tegra. And like I said, secondly, there's no way this late in the game they're debating between AMD and NVIDIA. I mean, maybe they have two different systems, prototypes made where they have one chipset from AMD and one chipset from NVIDIA, but they're supposed to be releasing this system in March. They're really still debating on that? That's kind of unnerving if they are. But again, I doubt it. I think that's another part of this rumor that's false. I really feel from what I've been hearing, and I'm sure you guys have been hearing it too, it's been all about NVIDIA being inside the NX. So why at this point would they still be debating, especially when the system's coming out only in a few months? Why would they still be debating what chip they're using inside the console? It just doesn't make any sense. Also, I'm going to have Dr. Trey81 from YouTube. I'll have a link to his channel below in the description. He's going to come on. He's been following the NX very closely, and he's going to talk to us about, Pascal and NVIDIA and the Tegra chipset and all the rumors about that. So he'll fill you guys in on what's really going on too. So that's going to be interesting having him on the show. Also, Nintendo, I get it. You're very excited about the concept of the NX and you're afraid the other companies like Sony and Microsoft might try to steal ideas from it. But if you're coming out with Codename NX in 2017, March of 2017, you need to talk about it. It's already almost October of 2016. March of 2017 is not far away at all. And there is zero buzz about the NX. No one outside of the games industry and the diehard consumers and guys like me know what the NX is. They have no idea that Nintendo is making a new console. The general consumer knows jack shit. And March 2017 is way too close for the general consumer to know jack shit about the NX. Do you really want the NX to go down the same route as the Wii U because of your piss poor marketing? You want to do that again with the NX? Because you're on the path to doing that right now. You need to open your goddamn mouth about the system and let people know about it. Because right now, what you're doing, yes, I get it, okay? You have this new, exciting idea you want no one to know about. But if you really are, unless you're like waiting for another 6 months or a year or something like that to release the NX and you're just not saying anything, but if you're still planning on releasing Codename NX in March 2017 and you don't create any buzz about it, you're already really pushing it, Nintendo. It may be bordering on too late to start creating buzz about the NX. If you don't start creating buzz like yesterday, you're going to be in deep shit again. You need to market this thing. You need to build up hype with the general consumer, not guys like me, so people get excited about it and want to buy it. Because right now, no one knows shit about NX, and that's not good at all. And last but not least, I am still crossing my fingers and hoping that this rumor is not true, but it does not seem to go away no matter what article I read, is that the NX is going to fall far behind the PS4, the base PS4, in graphical performance, and it's not even going to come remotely close to the PS4 Pro. Now, I am still hoping against hope, even though everything I'm reading and seeing and hearing is not backing this up, that Nintendo is working with NVIDIA and they're going to put the Tegra X2 chip in there. Even the Tegra X1 chip is more powerful than the Xbox 360 and PS3, but it ain't up to par with the Xbox One and PS4, okay? So I'm hoping that the Tegra X2 is in there because that'll put it pretty damn close to performance of the base PS4 and Xbox One. So the NX will get the third-party games like Sony and Microsoft are. Because if Sony and Microsoft, even with the PS4 Pro coming out and the Project Scorpio coming out from Microsoft, they keep on swearing, Sony and Microsoft, that they're not going to leave base PS4 and Xbox One owners behind. So if the NX has the Tegra X2 in there, it'll be pretty close to the same level as the original Xbox One and base PS4. So hopefully the companies will come out with the third-party games for the NX if it has a Tegra X2 in there. I don't see it happening now, though. Again, it's a rumor, and these rumors could be wrong, but it just seems like they're leaning towards the Tegra X1. And again, that puts Nintendo in the same goddamn spot. They've been with the N64. They've been with the GameCube. They've been with the Wii, even though the Wii sold like crazy. That was a fluke. And with the Wii U. They have always Nintendo since the N64 days has always done some shit that has alienated third-party developers. I've talked about this before with the N64, even though it was the most powerful system of its generation, it had cartridges, so developers had to try to compress the shit out of their games and leave stuff out of their games, and it was expensive to put games on the cartridges, so they said screw it and went over to the PlayStation, which Nintendo choosing cartridges is probably part of the reason for the PlayStation 1 success. Then they finally, with the GameCube, embraced optical media, but they used smaller discs. So again, the discs were only a gigabyte each, I believe, around that. So they couldn't, developers had to find ways to put the games on those smaller discs because you had Sony and Microsoft using DVDs, and here you have Nintendo using their own proprietary disc format, which didn't hold as much storage, so they either had to make the game spread across multiple discs, or they had to compress it and put it on one of these discs, or they just said, screw it, we're not making a game for the GameCube. Also didn't help that Nintendo didn't, embrace online multiplayer like Sony and Microsoft did, but that's a whole different story too. But anyway, combining all that also put the GameCube, in its own weird little corner, and it didn't sell as well as the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2, the original Wii, in my opinion, was a fluke. It was because of the whole motion control gimmick, and I feel a lot of soccer moms bought that once they got over Wii Sports. It collected dust, and third-party games did not sell well on the original Wii. So, that was an exception, but Nintendo went right back to shit again with the Wii U, again, because they try to, tread on their own path. And with portable consoles for Nintendo, it works. I predicted doom and gloom for the 3DS, and the 3DS killed it. The 3DS is still selling well to this day. I was so wrong about that, it hurt, and I hope I'm wrong about the NX too, but Nintendo, you need third-party games on your systems. You've always seemed to have been this way with third-party developers. You say, we could do our games are good enough. Our games could sell our systems. Which, yes, your first-party IPs are what makes Nintendo Nintendo. But the reason why your consoles for generations now, again, minus the Wii, have been behind your competitors is because you haven't had the same third-party offerings. And third-party games are very important to consoles. Okay, and you've been on some other shit. Okay, when everyone else is doing one thing, you're doing the complete opposite. And I'm not telling you to not be innovative. I'm not telling you to not try new and different things. But you should also have a console, even with these innovations, that could compete with your competitors enough hardware-wise and performance-wise so you could have the innovation, and I've said this so many times it's almost annoying to say it again, where you could have the innovation but also have those straight-up third-party games that people want to play. And if you combine that together, if you make that balance, I've been saying this for fucking years now, if you make that balance, you will have a killer system. Not telling you not to innovate, but if you make your hardware capable enough that you could have the same games that Sony and Microsoft are going to have in their consoles from third-party developers, your system would sell like crazy. But it seems like you're not going to do it again. You're making an underpowered system, and you're hoping that the innovation and whatever gimmick you're working up, hey, maybe it'll be really good and it won't be a gimmick, it'll be a true innovation, will sell it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope so. I want Nintendo to be successful because I really don't think, and many other people, even diehard fanboys are saying this, I don't think Nintendo, if the NX screws up, I don't think we're going to see another piece of hardware from Nintendo. I really don't. I don't care how much money is in the bank. And I don't want to see that happen. I don't. People think I say this because I hate Nintendo. No, I'm just taking what I read and see and looking at all the news and information, and it concerns me. But no, I don't wish bad on Nintendo. What the hell would I wish bad on them for? 90% of my gaming childhood, if not more, all the great memories are mostly from Nintendo. So why would I wish bad on them? And on top of it, too, the reason the industry is where it is because what Nintendo has contributed to it. Okay? So no, I want Nintendo to succeed, but I am concerned. And I think I have every damn right to be concerned. They just don't seem to learn from their mistakes. But who knows, man? Maybe the NX will be this one thing, even though it won't compete hardware-wise in terms of capabilities with its competitors, where it offers that new concept, that fresh concept from Nintendo that makes people want to buy the system, kind of like what happened with the Wii. Hopefully it's just not as gimmicky, though. So Nintendo, I've said this before too, I'm concerned, but I wish you the best of luck. I want you to be successful with the NX. This is Rich at Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. And yes, I was terrible at CSGO in this match. God, I got my ass handed to me.